Today we take a look at some horusheresy spacewolves starting from Geigor Fell-hand. I could not miss a guy with this kind of haircut. And then I also got a couple of grey slayers who are more grand troops to accompany him on the battlefield. I like the overall look of these horusheresy grey wolves. Let's see what is inside. Let's free our feral werewolf hero from his cardbox prison so that we can take a first look at it. Looks great, with the classic iconography and decorations of the Legion. Okay, he lost a feet, but it should be easy to reattach. After everything has been assembled, we have a quite striking figure, ready for melee or ranged combat given its accessories. When looking closer at him, this amazing health sculpt is still in the scene. It has a great and unique design, and quite a good paint job. If only Russ had been on the same level. The haircut looks a bit ridiculous, but this is a Warhammer review, not a hairstylist showcase. If we move to the armour, then there is a great combination of metal, ice grey, gold and trinkets, typical of any faction that is more or less inspired to Vikings. So we have skulls, blades and wolf pelts, with all the decorative arts you would expect from them. The Latin claw looks particularly amazing. Then we have the scabbard for the sword, and overall this is an awesome look, surely one of the best seen so far. For this kind of non-Terminator figures, we already know that shoulder articulations are limited by the big pauldrons. The amazing power fist, with these metal painted claws instead, has no problems. Blades are articulated at the base, and they're also quite sharp and hard. Watch out! If you want to pose him like a cat, or just slapping heretics in the face, you have found the right tool for the job. Everything else, from torso and legs, is also in line with other similar figures. I had no problems in posing him for normal postures, but don't expect him to be the amazing Spider-Man in a dystopic universe. But if the Latin claw is certainly a cool weapon and quite a trademark for our Geigor, he is also armed with a custom bolt rifle. The weapon also has this plastic chain that you can fold and also use for appending the weapon to his shoulders. Then we have this big Rambo-like knife that acts like a sword, in case you want to pose him in a full melee loadout. Time to put everything together so that we can take a look at him in all of his shelf-ready glory. There is no helmet, so this may not be appealing everybody, but for me the scream face, the cool armor and the aggressive accessories create a great combination. I think it is a great fit in a Spacewolf collection, while representing their feral and aggressive warrior spirit. Better not to be on the opposite side. My favorite pose is to have him run towards the enemy lines, full lock and loaded for enforcing compliance or retribution to the enemy. The transparent base also included can be helpful when setting him up for this kind of more dynamic poses. A great looker and good posing options. I think this is a great figure, unless you are a Spacewolves hater. A good comparison is the traitor with the power fist from the Sons of Horus Legion. They are quite similar in size, even if Geigor looks bigger because of his punk haircut. Definitely a great trick to impress their opponents with a larger bulk. Time to move to the grey slayers. Starting from this very Viking-like boy, fully armed with a Mark III power armor, a shield, an axe, a bolt rifle and a pistol. Everything that you need for a daily day at work. The Legion Vexilla has no shield, but for all other purposes it is pretty much the same. They both have helmeted and unhelmeted options. The Mark III power armor design is the same we have seen for the Imperial Fist, but with different colors and details of course. For example, the right pauldron has those overlapping armor segments that I like a lot, and are quite common across the Spacewolves figures like the Vargirs or even Russ himself. I picked this guy because of the amazing health sculpt that I think to be too cool for a Grand Soldier. I will probably swap it for some other figures in the future, but for now he will confer a great elite look to this otherwise quite conventional legionary. The Legion Vexilla is not much different in terms of armour, but the unhelmeted options is less of my taste with this leather mask and bare fangs. But I'm sure that a lot of you will probably enjoy it. The bolt rifle and pistols are pretty standard, but these axes are quite unique to them. I hope they are energized weapons, but the wooden handle will probably help with the insulation. The shield is a nice addition, and a very well made one, with the runic iconography all around, the nice metallic look, but there is nothing special on the backside, where the handle is. The grey layers are smaller than Geigor, but not that much, being completely comparable to each other, and I'm pretty happy about also the color combination, which seems to fit all of three quite nicely. For the Legion Vexilla I will keep the helmet, while the other guy will proudly show his Viking features to my shelves. The painting is quite good in terms of color combinations and weapons, but it is quite dull since there are no highlights or inking at all. The grey color is quite pleasant to look at. I prefer it to the light blue used by 40k spacewolves. As they are still some great figures, even if Geigor is quite expensive compared to the grey layers. But being a Praetor level figure, this is not surprising. I especially like the bare heads, that are great for sculpt and paintwork. No wonky eyes, no bleeding paint, one of the best paint applications I ever seen. So for me both Geigor and the Grey Slayers are big thumbs up. I can only recommend them to any Spacewolves collector, or those of you that are hunting those awesome Praetor figures from JOYTOY. Having said that, I wish you a nice rest of the day in company of your favorite werewolves.